Brothers and sisters, welcome to our today's program of NJO Leo of the 15th of November 2018. My name is Odon Bulamba. I'm going to share with you the news today, and I will just keep you up to date with what has been taking place into the Democratic Republic of Congo for the last 24 or 48 hours. Once again, welcome to our program, and if this is your first time to watch our videos, we'll invite you to join us. So if you're watching us from Facebook, you can go to YouTube. Our channel is NJO Leo. You can click on the subscription button so that you can subscribe yourself, and from time to time, after watching our videos, you can click on like. That will promote our videos. Also, there is a bell which is down there. You can click on that bell, so whenever we publish a video, you can be alerted. Without taking longer, let us go to our main lines. Our headlines today, my dear brothers and sisters, will be as following. The USA warns. No reason to delay the process. The world is watching to see what will be the legacy of Kabila, said Nikki Haley. A few weeks away from the election campaign, the voting machine still divides the political class of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Chilombo and Kamerhe pledged to withdraw of political life in case of violation of the agreement. Here we are talking about the Geneva Agreement. Opposition parties in Ituri welcomed Martin Fayulu's nomination as a unique candidate for the opposition. Theodore Ngoyi announces that all opposition meetings to confirm or reject Fayulu's choice is needed. So these are the points that I'm going to develop with you, and I will ask you to be with us for the next few minutes in order to know what has been taking place into the Congo, and also to be informed of the whole situation. And at the end of this news, I will do a comment about about Kamerhe and Chilombo agreement that they signed. In case they did not respect it, they will withdraw from their political career. So let's go to our point now. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for being with us, and I will start by talking to you a little bit about the USA. As you may know, or as you know already, so during a meeting of the UN Security Council on the situation in the DRC, when I'm saying DRC, it means the Democratic Republic of Congo. In a speech made on Tuesday, November 13, the USA ambassador Nikki Haley said that there is no excuse today for delaying elections. She stressed the importance of free, fair, and credible elections on December 23rd, and that all parties know what to do. She said, President Kabila understands his role. The DRC government understands what needs to be done. The National Independent Electoral Commission, CENI, is aware of the preparations to be implemented over the next 6 weeks. There is no excuse for failure, no reasons to delay the process. The only thing left for the DRC leaders to show is their willingness to follow the democratic path that has been traced to them. The world is watching to see what President Kabila's legacy will be. she confirmed. Nikki Haley, however, asks the Congolese people to continue to demand and exercise their right to life, freedom, and pursuit of happiness. As I usually say, Congolese people should and have to continue to demand and stand for their right. No one will do it. As Nikki also has advised us, we have to stand up. We have to really to be determined. We have to determine ourselves and decide to demand our right. Right to live or right to life, right to freedom, and right for life which is full of happiness. It is our right. It's not something that just someone will give us. No, it is our right. So in the same context, I will continue and telling you that now we are heading to the elections. And as we are moving forward, as we have seen and we know, two of those candidates, two of those brothers have decided to pull out from that Geneva Agreement. And they said we are not continuing because our basis, our headquarters have said no. However, this is not the only issue that Congo has been facing so far. 7 days. Today we are at 7 days. At 7th day. No, 7 days, sorry, before the launch of the electoral campaign. CENI, or the National Electoral Commission, continues to maintain the use of the voting machine for the elections of December 23, 2018, while the opposition candidates and the Catholic Church continue to reject this device, considering it less rigorous than a paper ballot. So the agreement on the modalities of the vote seems difficult between CENI and the presidential candidates. However, time doesn't wait for us. Time has been flying because we are preparing in the coming days to launch the electoral campaign. The electoral campaign is starting in 7 days, but no one has found so far an agreement on the voting machine and other points which were raised up during the meeting in Saint Sylvestre agreement. The Kofi Annan Foundation, the body that helped the Geneva negotiations on the selection of the unique candidate for the opposition of the Congo, has just disclosed the letter of commitment of the several Congolese opposition who were without exception committed to withdraw of political life in case of non-compliance with the agreement. It's a turn of the foundation to counterattack. The day after the withdrawal of Felix Tshisekedi and Kamerhe Vital of the Geneva Coalition Agreement, the Kofi Annan Foundation decided this Tuesday, November 13, to publish all documents negotiated and signed by the 7 main leaders of the opposition. They explained to us, and also they have just posted it to their Twitter account, in the interest of transparency, and after informing the signatories, we published the document of engagement. A total of 10 documents, including the coalition agreement, were released. Among these published texts, there are several letters of commitment, like the 5 other signatories to the Geneva Coalition Agreement on a joint candidacy. Felix Tshisekedi and Vital Kamerhe undertook on the honor to scrupulously respect all the provisions of the Lamuka Agreement. In Lingala, that means wake up, and including its preamble and all related texts. They also pledged to not betray the Congolese people by violating the aforementioned provisions. If I do not respect my commitment, I will end my political career and I would be subject to the stigma of the nation and to the sanction of my peers. Read the letter of commitment of each of the 7 leaders of the opposition. Vital Kamerhe and Felix Tshisekedi, who are finally withdrawn from the agreement on Monday, will they hold their commitment, withdrawing from the political life? These letters were signed upstream and were based on the coalition agreement that was designated the common candidate according to well-defined criteria and not by voting as it was done, says an advisor to one of the 2 leaders, thus denouncing vitiated consent. Furthermore, Fayulu was chosen as the leader of the opposition. Although the other 2 have withdrawn from a disagreement, several opposition political parties in Ituri welcomed Martin Fayulu's nomination on Sunday 11th as a joint candidate of the Congolese opposition. For Ensemble Together for Change, Katumbi's political party, this is a historic victory, they said. And at UNC, the Union of Congolese Nation, they also welcome the news. And for MLC Ituri also, they indicated that news were well received. But for UDPS, there was some type of hesitation for confirming the news. The withdrawal of Tshisekedi, Tshilombo Félix, and that of Kamerhe Vital has somehow pushing up Fayulu. Martin Fayulu has somehow increased the number of followers or people who said, no, we have just to continue Fayulu because Fayulu was the candidate who was chosen for us. Some people decided to pull out from their political parties. They have withdrawn from their political parties, including UDPS and UNC. Among them is one candidate for the national deputy or national, what you call it, member of parliament candidate. He said, I pull out from a UDPS after Felix Tshisekedi or Felix Tshilombo has withdrawn from the Geneva Agreement. So this person is known as a Just Aganze Chibembe, who was a candidate for the national deputy of the electoral district of Bukavu on behalf of the UDPS. Not only himself, but also from UNC, we can see individuals from UDPS the same have been pulling out from their political parties because somehow they say that they are deceived. They are disappointed with their leaders. Therefore, Fayulu continues to gain, those people who leave their parties, they continue to join Fayulu and say, look, we will be with you, Fayulu, and at the end of the day, once we finish the election, if we win, then we'll go back to our political parties, or we may stay with Fayulu, they have told us. And as I've said, look, for us, we pull out forever, we are not going back anymore. So somehow, some people have been happy and they have been applauded for Kamerhe and Tshilombo to pull out from the Geneva Agreement because they believe that it was a dodged agreement. Others have been saying, no, they have done a mistake and they have misled us, so we don't have to stay with them. They pull out from their end. Although many people have been talking about Fayulu, many people have been joining Fayulu's movement, somehow another group of opposition, the one which remained in Kinshasa, the one which also promised to choose their own candidate for the coming elections, they have also decided this Wednesday, 14th of November, at the end of the statement of the collective of candidate presidents made on the recent evolution of the electoral process underway in the DRC, Theodore Ngoy, candidate president of the Republic, said that Martin Fayulu is not still the common or the unique candidate of all the opposition. It takes a meeting of all to be able to raise an option. Despite the cacophony that characterizes the opposition at the moment, Theodore Ngoy remains convinced that the Congolese people will give him his confidence on December 23, given the negative balance, in his opinion, the power in place that, in almost 18 years of management, failed to provide water, electricity, and adequate roads to the population. As a reminder for you, the electoral campaign, according to the CENI calendar, starts on the 22nd or 23rd of November. And this Wednesday, a lot of electoral material, including voting machines, took the direction of provinces of Kwango and Kwilu. So this is our news for today, and I'm going to do some comment. And my comment will focus on the part that I said the candidate in Geneva signed an agreement, and the two of them have decided to pull out from that agreement. And that agreement said, whenever you disappoint the population of the Congo, whenever you disappoint this agreement, then you'll pull out from your political career. Are they really going to pull out? Is Kamerhe and Felix Tshisekedi going to withdraw from their political lives? I doubt. This is what makes politics hard into the Congo. Politicians want so much to act and change their tacts as they breathe. Excuse me, political actors, they can tell you something in the morning, and at lunchtime it will be a complete different story, and at the evening, whatever you'll say, whatever you'll remind them saying, they'll prove to you that they have never said it. As you can observe, as you have seen, those seven leaders of a biggest, I would say, political platforms of the Congo, they went to Geneva, and their main objective to go to Geneva was to choose one unique candidate, or one candidate who will represent their group. But as you may know, among the seven, as there are seven, I can tell you that each of them, or two of them maybe, or two of each, belongs to a province. And that is what we live in the Congo. Tshisekedi, for instance, is from Kasai. He represents people of Kasai. Jean-Pierre Bemba is from Equateur. He represents the people from the province of Equateur. We'll find Vital Kamerhe is from Kivu. He represents people from the provinces of Kivu, and so on. And Moise Katumbi from Katanga, he represented people from Katanga. Regardless of, taking into consideration what people say, they are foreigners and so on. So I put that aside. I'm just talking about their way of acting, representing their provinces of origin. So this group of seven is represented by seven major political actors, but also those major political actors also represent somehow their farmers from their provinces of origin. And the people who are behind them, the majority of their followers are natives of those provinces. And some of them have been following these leaders because maybe those leaders, one, belong to their tribes, They are members of their tribes, or they are members of their province. They are from the same province. However, there are also many electors or voters, or again, people who belong to their political platform or political parties who are not natives of their provinces, but also they belong to other provinces. Why am I saying this? Because once someone starts a political party, this is just my observation. Whenever someone starts a political party, he has a target. And mostly, exceptions exist, but mostly they target something which has been going on into their provinces, or they believe that people of my province will vote for me, will stand nearby me, they will walk by my side, and we can win. And once they start that political party, unlikely, they don't tell those people that this is our political party which will stop itself or will limit itself only on our tribe or our province of origin, but they call it a national party. And when we talk about a national party, we can see it going at the national standard. And there we can see, when we talk about national, it means including all provinces, it includes all tribes, it includes all categories of people of the Congo. Although any national party or any political party in the Congo is national, when we go deep inside, we can start to observe that whatever they do, most of the time is not national, it's superficial, it's limited to regional level, and sometimes or very often it takes only into consideration the tribal area. Where do you belong to? For instance, if a chairperson of a political party is a Mutetela, you'll find that his headquarters will have at least half of its members, or maybe a 3/4 of its members will be Batetela. If it's a Muluba, then you'll find maybe 3/4 of the headquarter members, those who surround him, maybe 3/4 of them, maybe half, maybe more than 3/4 are Baluba. So you can see tribalism inside the political parties. You can see regionalism inside the political parties, and that makes the party to not respond to the needs that we call nationalism. It stops itself at the level of provinces and tribes. Although called national, they don't act so. For that reason, 58 years have gone by since Lumumba fought for the nationalism. We are supposed to live as a country, as a nation. And for 58 years now, although Lumumba fought for that, Congolese people continue to walk backwards and go back to their tribes, their villages, their provinces. Rather than thinking bigger about their nations, they think smaller about their tribes and provinces. Therefore, people of the Congo, in order to vote for someone, they will look at their tribe. Does that candidate belong to my tribe? If yes, I'll vote for him. If not, I'm not. And if he's not belonging to my tribe, I can see as a candidate there, which one should I choose? Then I'll go for the second option to choose someone who belongs to my province, who is from the same province as myself. Why that? Because they believe choosing someone from your province will make their province to benefit, will make their province to excel. Unfortunately, unlikely, we have seen all those who have been voted by theirs, they disappoint their provinces. They do nothing for their provinces. Most of them, maybe at 80%, if I do not exaggerate. So what should we do? Do we have to continue to vote for them? Or do we have to stop and think, okay, this political party is not a provincial or a regional political party, it's a national one. Should we think in terms of national political parties and work as a political, as a nationalist also, or someone who belongs to a nation, and I'm voting my candidate based on the values of my nation? That's a first challenge we face. And as we know, all over the world, regionalism exists. People from one province will vote, first of all, theirs. But we should, although that exists in every single country, but people sometimes stop and think about the interest of the whole nation. But in the Congo, that doesn't exist. Now, those leaders who withdrew from that Geneva Agreement, after signing the document, after agreeing with everyone else, less than 24 hours, as I've previously told you in my last program, they have decided to quit. They have decided to pull aside. They have decided to say, okay, we signed, that is true, but we take back our signatures. And unfortunately, you cannot. You can't do so. As I've just shown you, you can't. The signature is there and will continue to be there. Accept it or not. For example, that the signature of Felix, it will be there forever. You can decide to remove your signature, but documents are there. And this is what has been making the history of our country. Our grandchildren and those who will come, the generations which will come after them, will continue to see this document and read them. It's for our dignity, the dignity of our countries. Maybe on one hand, these leaders were right to pull out from this journey because somehow they said that the whole process was tricked. And if it was tricked, yeah, we may not blame them. But who tricked who? What was happening? Did they just discover that trick at the last second? Did they only see that trick coming on the day after signing the document? Or again, they did it and then they decided later on we'll pull out. Furthermore, when they said that we withdraw from the agreement we signed, we take back our signatures, these people didn't only sign one document. They signed maybe at least two. Which one do they talk about? Are they talking about? Is it this engagement of if I betray this agreement, then I'll pull out from my political career? Or are they talking about the other agreement, the other text that they signed with all the condition criteria for this project, Coalition Lamuka, or Wake Up? Because the signatures are here and there, but they don't specifically tell us from which one or which signature are they taking back. We don't know. Or whenever they say signature, does it mean everything that they signed? What impression does it give? They invited the people from the international community, come and help us. Those people did everything they could do, even finding them the visas. Kofi Annan Foundation did that business of finding their visas. Their visas were approved, they put them somewhere, they worked with them, wasting effort, wasting time. Then later on it was discovered that something was going wrong there. And our two leaders have clearly said, we withdraw from this process because, not from this process, we take back our signatures because our bases, our headquarters have told us to do so. And this is where I have to focus. Whom should we blame? Are we going to blame these candidates who signed? Then later on, if it's true, the headquarters say so. Then later on, the headquarters said you should come out from that contract. If truly these candidates were in contact with their bases, before, when they found that things have changed, because they were going there to do a choice, whenever they found out that we are not here for a choice, now things have changed, we have to do what we call a vote, why didn't they stop and ask their bases, hey, here things have changed, they have been asking us now to vote instead? Or again, people of the base, we are here, we read the text and this is what the text says. Because somehow I assume people of the base are now those who have been thinking for their candidates. Maybe the candidate left behind all their confidence, all their everything, and leave that power to the base to decide. And if they did not discuss about this option before they went to Geneva, they were free to tell themselves, I'm not going to proceed unless I speak to my people back home. And the Kofi Annan Foundation could never at any stage force them to sign. Now, who is in the base? Who is the base? The base, as I said, you will find it's a handful number of people who surround the leader. And that person or those people mostly are people from the same tribe as that leader. And those will be the one who will influence the leader to do things. And in such a case, because this meeting in Geneva was so capital, was important for the whole nation, those people who maybe are members of the base, their focus didn't go straight away to the interest of our nation. They looked at maybe what you call regionalism, or maybe tribalism, maybe, you know, our common interest as the base. Because if they could project their mind a little bit further and look at the interest of the whole nation, the Congolese people, maybe they couldn't do what they did. Because by telling their leaders, we have already said you should pull out, that means definitely that you are breaking that agreement, you are splitting in part those 7 leaders, and actually we have got now Kamerhe, who was to represent himself, Felix Tshisekedi, who was to represent himself, Fayulu on the other hand. We have got now 3 groups from 1. And that does not only fracture those leaders of the opposition, but it also fractures the entire nation, those who were behind those 7 leaders. And this is what we are calling destroying our nation. For the interest of your region or province or your group or your political party even, you break the rules and you punish everybody else. It's true that you have to protect your own interest. You have to protect the interest of your candidate because you want your candidate to become the president of the country. That is fine. But do you stop at some stage and look at the interest of the whole nation? If we do this, what will the consequence be to our nation? Because our political party, it is a national party. It is not only a regional party, it's not only a tribal party, it's a national party. So if we break this rule, how does it going to affect the entire nation of the Congo? And the poor candidate, because they had no choice, because maybe they feared their bases, they agreed to withdraw. They agreed to say, okay, from now and on we pull out because our bases said it. And I've seen many people pointing their fingers to Chilombo, to Kamerhe, saying these people are not good, they are bad people. Possibly, yes, they are. On one hand, I say, why possibly yes? Because on one hand, they could say, look, I'm the leader of the political party and I've decided to do this. You delegated me, you know. I'm a delegate. I'm a representative. Whatever I do, it engages the entire political party of mine. So I have to do so. Or again, before I do it, I asked you and we agreed on terms. And what they did instead to pull out does not only devalorize, bringing down the reputation of their political parties, it does not only bring down their own reputation, but also it brings down the reputation of their bases, their advisors, their headquarters, those who talks behind the wall. And it brings down, of course, the reputation of the entire nation. How many Europeans were there? How many Africans were present? How many people, foreigners were there who were saying, yeah, for the first time, Congolese opposition is united? Unlikely. We know the answer. That's on one hand. On the other hand, these leaders, possibly they were right because the pressure of their bases pushed them to do what they did. And they did it. Maybe so that they could break that dodging thing that they said existed, the trick that they saw, the setup which was made, maybe they have destroyed it. And if that is true, good. But what is next? Who is going to suffer more? And how will the person who will suffer more feel? The base is not only composed by those who decide for the country. The base should also be composed by the voice of the voiceless, the population, the voters. As I've been saying for the past 5 months, our political leaders should from time to time, here I'm talking about both presidential majority and the opposition, they should from time to time consult the population, talk to the people. We have seen Obama, we have seen Trump, we have seen Macron, we have seen even in Africa, or leaders in Africa, they'll put aside their, political costume somewhere there, and they'll say, we are going to meet with the population, who are not politicians. They will listen to them. They will let them talk. They will come down to their levels to listen to their ideas, their concerns. They will consult them. And you might be surprised, some people from the crowd, some from the voters are clever, are wiser than those who are in the base. Some of them have got good ideas compared to the ideas that we have in the base. But those people have never been consulted. No one asks them. Just the base of 15, 5 or 10 people of the same tribe, or mostly composed by the same people of the same tribe, they make a decision and they call Kamerhe, Tshisekedi. This is what we decide here. This is what have been said. By who? And as a result, people start to pull out from those political parties. Now, if we see this situation, who is destroying the country? Who is killing the people of the Congo? It is not only Kabila. It is not only Kamerhe. It is not only Jean-Pierre Bemba. It is not only those who are around Katumbi and the other political leaders. I should say that it is the base. Those who compose the base of the political parties, those are the ones who have been killing our country. Those who are the ones who have been punishing the Congolese people without realizing that we are killing our own people. Because whenever you take a wrong decision, you come up with a wrong idea that you believe it will benefit your political party, that you believe it will only benefit your province or your tribe, you affect your nation. And you do so very often because you forget that your political parties are national political parties. They are not anymore regional or again tribal. So you should remove that confusion, and by removing that confusion, you will help the process. Now, actually, you have been fragilizing the process of democracy in the Congo. And in terms of law, as we usually say, although a crowd can be there, a crowd cannot think. But the idea comes from someone. And that someone in the base is a person that those candidates should tell us. Maybe the president of the base, maybe the second secretary, maybe a deputy, someone in the base have said this. And bring that person on light. And once we know in the crowd someone said something, we go now to see the person, and then we go behind that idea. The idea that the person presented, what is behind that idea, before we take any action. And once we understand the idea behind that idea, then we can see if that idea is really an advantage for the population of the Congo, or an advantage or a disadvantage, for our whole nation. But because it's now someone who said it and it must be so, and we say amen, then it's a terrible mistake. Here we are not taking the Eucharisty, we are not taking the bread, or we are not doing the Passover. No, we are not. We are talking about human being life, the life of our nation and of our people. And once we know the person in the base who have said that, we will know exactly the person who has killed this process of Geneva in UNC is such a person. In UDPS, it's such a person. And from mistakes, we learn. But if we continue to hide those people, just saying base said, my base said, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Remember, I did some... several years ago when I was young, I learned something about a stupid king, if you allow me to say so, un roi fainéant in France. And one of those kings in France that used to be called roi fainéant, he wasn't really stupid as some people believed. But because around him, there were also people who were not good advisors. Although he used to do his own, mistakes, his own stupidity was there sometimes, but he used sometimes also talk to his own people, his base. And his base misled him on several occasions. And people did not see the base, but they were pointing their fingers to that king. They were insulting him. And today, Kabila can be insulted. We can insult him. We can insult Kamerhe. We can insult... Even me, I can be insulted. Even you can be insulted. Not because of what you say or you did, but because the advice that you get from somewhere, from someone, was not a right advice for our nation. And this is when good leaders, they don't just have to lock themselves around their bases. They consult the whole nation. They consult those who are at the level of provinces, those who are at the level at the cities maybe. Talk to them and know their ideas. What do they think? What do they say? Because a single person can mislead you by telling you this is what the base say, and that's all. And that's all. Where are we going? Where are we going? You people of the bases, of political parties, look what you have been creating for us. As I said before, Lumumba, 58 years ago, he fought. He fought really hard. And he got our independence. Lumumba was not the person that you think. But today you know Lumumba. Why do you know Lumumba today? Because he fought and he wanted our nation to be one. He was a nationalist. He wanted the whole country to have independence. Why didn't he just request or apply or fight for the independence of the Batetela? Why didn't he only fight for the independence of maybe the people of Kasai? But he stood up with the whole team, with the entire base of his, to fight for the interest of our whole nation. That was 58 years ago. And instead of progressing, instead of moving forward with the steps of Lumumba, with that spirit of nationalism, today we are going backward. going back to regionalism, going back to tribalism, going back, I don't know, to familism, if you want, and going back to individualism. Where are we going? Lumumba didn't have a master's degree in political science. Lumumba didn't have a PhD, maybe in such and or such subject. And we people who have got PhDs, master's degrees, and so on, today we are unable to defend our nations. And we are proud of saying that, you know, we have learned, we have studied a lot compared to those in the past. We know better. We understand better politics. We understand better the art of governing our nations. But the result of our jobs is really, really poor. It's really poor, under the carpet even, I should say. Where are we going? Monsengo said, he calls them in France mediocre. And if people are mediocre, you know, lower the level, under the normal level, and he was saying that about those who are in a presidential majority, those who do not have that consciousness of doing things for their nation. And those of the opposition today, where are they? And sometimes I wonder, who is really a mediocre? Is it only someone who belongs to FCC? Or is it any individual? You can be in the opposition, you can be a simple citizen like me, but whenever you do something mediocre, something which is low, then they'll qualify you to be low. I think that's a reality. And politicians today, on both sides, the population, we today voters on both sides, we have been dropping our values down. We go to the lowest level of our existence, crucifying our nation, crucifying our own people, because we want just to protect our tribe, or our base, as we say, or only our political party. Now, those that we used to call mediocres yesterday, those that we used to call people with a weak spirit, weak conscience, when they look at you and me now, what do they say? I think that they are playing drums. They are mocking us. And this is a big shame. Furthermore, we said, okay, we went to Geneva, and there it was just another good example. I can just pull something from it anyway. Because you are going to the elections, if those elections will take place. What Kamerhe, Tshisekedi, and others do in Geneva, wasn't it an election? They voted. Yes, they did. They voted. And that vote did not involve any voting machine. They used a ballot paper, a pen and paper, in front of the international community, if you want, who were there like witnesses. They did their vote. And after voting, after swearing, after signing, they came out and it's like, you know, we have changed our mind. The same scenario will also take place, because we know we will go to the vote. Even those who have been saying we are going to the vote regardless, the voting machine can be there or not, we are going to face the election. Going to polls is fine. But aren't we going to come back again and say we change our mind? What we decided after voting, what we decided was not the true vote, we don't want to carry on. While already your voices, your votes have been given to someone. That's where we are going. What should we learn from this lesson? Some other things in life are almost impossible to be taken back. Like your life, like your age. Once you are one, you are one. Once you are 20, you are 20. You can say, I'm 20 this year, next year I will be 19. You don't reverse the process. And that's the same way in politics. You must have projections. You must have a plan which is consistent. And if you cannot have a good plan, why not to consult? Why do we see America consulting France? Why do you see France consulting Belgium? Why do you see Germany consulting other countries? Why do you see African fellow presidents consulting each other? They talk. You need to consult, you need to talk, because you cannot have everything in you. 100% you can't. And that consultation, it doesn't only limit itself at the level of presidential, at the presidential level. You can also consult the population, you can consult women, you can consult men, you can consult even the youth. Why not children? Because you are working for them. You are working for them. And if you don't do so, then you'll continue to kill your own people without remembering that you are there for them. So now the question is of knowing, after signing those documents, are they really going to withdraw from their political career? We have heard some of those political parties, UDPS in particular, they said, okay, Tshisekedi is coming back, we are preparing a warm welcome. What does it change if you prepare it or not? If Kamerhe comes back and we are warmly, welcome him, what does it change? Does it change that signature? Does it change that day? That day will continue to be remembered for the rest of the history. The 11th of November. It was a Sunday in Geneva. It will change nothing. And those who put them in this, direction, what are they thinking? For them, just their mission is accomplished. They are back home now. We will go and fight. We will go and do our own things. We will go and elect, or we'll go and vote for representatives. That's all. Or they should also consider the option of we did a mistake, yes. We did maybe something which is correct, yes. Let us unite again back home and let's do our own things. Choose one candidate for everyone. Fight for this machine. But because the distraction is there, they continue to distract people more and more and more. And no one is talking about the machine. Now, actually, we are just talking about what Kamerhe and Tshisekedi did. And a few people like me or you now, we are talking about what the mistakes the basis did, or what the goodness the basis did to this candidate. Because the basis didn't only destroy the reputation of their political parties, also they destroy the reputation of their leaders, they destroy the reputation of our country, they destroy the reputation of our nation, of us as a population, and of themselves. It won't be easy to trust you, Congolese people. Some politician actors will tell you it's not easy to trust you. With what we have seen, whenever Kamerhe will go tomorrow to negotiate, or Chilombo to negotiate somewhere in a foreign country, imagine the picture that those people will have. And it's easy for people to remember what went wrong somewhere in your life rather than remembering what went good. That's history. Are we going to call again UNESCO to come, France, SADC, come and help us again? Another lesson that we can maybe take into consideration. When I go back 100 years ago, 58 years ago, and I can see in the Congo we had empires, kingdoms, villages, and we used to have leaders of those villages. Order and laws were respected. People didn't do just things because of feelings. No, they used to think for the interests of the whole kingdom or empire. They used to think for the interest of the entire village. And this is what we learned. Whenever we say, yeah, Congo is our land, the land is that our ancestors, our elders, our great-great-parents left to us. Do we also consider their way of ruling, their way of organizing, their way of governing those empires, old kingdoms, old villages? Do we also take those into consideration? Or we just inherited the land and we refuse to inherit their behavior, their open-mindedness, their minded fact, or their way of acting, talking, and doing things, or organizing, even governing? We can only take the land, but we refuse to take the other values those old people had. And today, comparing what we are facing now with what in Empire Congo or Congo Empire or Baluba Shankati Empire or Kingdom, what they used to do and what we are doing now, you can see that they were better organized than us today. They didn't go to school. They didn't have what you call modernity. They didn't have what you call technology. But their way of leading, governing is far way better than ours today. What they knew was to protect their lands. This is our empire and we have to look after our land properly. And everybody knew that. You can't just come to an empire and say, well, look, we are taking your land. You have to fight. Kill everybody before you take it. Or kill at least a big number of people before you occupy it. But today, what has been happening? We know. Our borders are now just opened. Whoever wants to step in can, and whoever wants to step out does it at any time they want. And you say this is our land that our ancestors left for us. Do we really take care of that land? And therefore, because you cannot take care of the land, it's almost impossible to take care of the population of that land. Furthermore, because we continue to fail, we continue to say just we are proud because we want just to be recognized, to be noticed, to be, big men, big bosses. We forget our tasks. Why shouldn't we maybe go back and ask ourselves, where are we from and where are we going? Why shouldn't we maybe go back and ask for help? Ask for help. And the help shouldn't only mean to go to France or USA or... No. We can also ask for help. Even from the population. Even from those who are wise. And you'll find many people are even wiser than those who make your base within the population. You'll find those people, they are there. Why can't you just go back and say, look, hey, America, we need your help. We need your support. We know we have been talking a lot about America, a lot about France, a lot about European, Asian, and so on, foreigners. But also, we should continue to think about a good relationship. Not only with our neighbors, but with the entire world. Because we have been also signing a lot of contracts, political contracts, economic contracts, and so on and so forth. Now, what do we benefit from them? They benefit something from us. What do we in return benefit from those people? We should go back to them and find out. Where's our part? How does it work? What happened before? Why don't we receive what we get? Or what we should get? With respect, in a good manner, in a good way, talking to them, we can still recover. But if we continue to say, okay, whenever we are doing those type of contracts, whenever we are talking to foreigners, we have to do it secretly. So only the best can know, the other people shouldn't know. Whatever I will gain, I will put it into my pocket secretly. No one else will know. As a consequence, what is going to happen? The nation will suffer. We will hang our nation up. And by hanging up our nation, you know the consequences. Now remember, if our ancestors, if our emperor, if our kings, old kings, if our emperor, all of them could now say, okay, we come back to life. And let us see how our generation, or your generation, our generation has been leading the country. How will Lumumba feel today? Lumumba who used to fight for the nationalism, if he comes back today to life, and he see you and I fighting for tribalism or regionalism, what is he going to think? What is he going to say? If my great-great-great-parent, who was maybe a king or an emperor somewhere, comes back to life, and he sees what I've been fighting for, I'm fighting more for money than my land. I'm fighting more for a few dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, than for my entire country, more than for the lives of my people. Who am I? What impression am I going to give? And how am I going to tell my children, my grandchildren, this is our land, our ancestors left it to us. And my grandchildren will tell me, but how comes that you don't take care of it? We see whenever someone passes away, let me give you this stupid example and I'll stop there. Whenever someone passes away, you can see human being will start now to they will take a photo, a picture of the person. And it will become like a precious thing, a treasure. They'll start to look at it carefully, keep it safely, because for them it's like, this used to be my father, my great-great-great-great-grandfather, and so on. While those people were alive, we didn't care for them. Once they pass away, photos now have got more values than themselves. Who really are we? This is a time to take care of our nation. This is a time to take care of our people. This is a time to take care of our land. This is a time to take care of ourselves. And for doing so, we don't only stick to the base. Bases have been misleading many of them. Bases have been misleading countries. Because of the bases today, we can see blood streams everywhere. Because of those bases, we can see today people shouting for help from all the corners of the world because of their bases. Today, the country is divided. Should we say Tshisekedi and Kamerhe have to withdraw from their political career or not? It's up to you to come up with an answer. They did a mistake, true. Their bases did a mistake, true. They have disappointed us, yes. They didn't disappoint us, yes. But what is next? We should learn from our mistakes. Thank you very much for everything. I will stop there for now. And I will wish you a very good day, reminding you what Nikki Haley said on Tuesday. Congolese, you have to fight for your right. Stand up. Fight for your right. Right for life, right for well-being, and right for freedom. Meaning that we are not free, meaning that we don't live, and meaning that we don't have what we call well-being. It doesn't exist. That's a message for you. You get it. Thanks a lot. May God bless you. May God bless our Congo, which is a one country and will remain one. In unity and love, with prayers, with support, with faith, with your contribution, with my small contribution, we will win. Thank you very much and see you next time. Ciao for now.